Hello there. I'm Idris Kom, filmmaker and founder of Al Art, a production slash content creation house in Khartoum, Sudan. I was project manager, residency coordinator, and co-curator alongside Larissa Furman on Sudan Moves. Sudan Moves is a project funded by Goethe-Institut. Its aim was to build a bridge or a channel between Sudanese creatives and German creatives and create a platform that artistically discusses the social political shifts occurring in both countries. In October, November 2019, we have started brainstorming sessions and roundtable meetings in both Berlin and Germany to plan and schedule the project. Sudan Moves has three parts. This exhibition right here that was made into a reality by Deer Designs in collaboration with Rift Digital Lab, a 6-week residency with 19 artists from Sudan, Germany, Qatar, and Switzerland, and a podcast produced in Khartoum by The Urban Episode. Initially, at the pre-COVID-19 time, this exhibition was supposed to be an analog exhibition held in Sudan and Germany, as well as the residency where artists from Sudan were supposed to travel to Germany to meet with their peers and collaborate. But due to the pandemic, the health measures, and the border closures, we had to shift the whole project and the perspective into a more digitalized approach. So at the challenging times of the pandemic and through a series of Zoom calls, meetings, and brainstorming sessions, we have decided to take it to the sphere. And the residency became an online residency where pairs met every week through Zoom to discuss, ideate, and create their work, the works that we are going to see inside this exhibition. So firstly, to get into the exhibition, there are these navigational buttons, which are these arrows, and this retractable tab, which takes you directly to the artworks or the artists that you want to go to. Pressing on this button right here. Also, before going in depth into the exhibition, you can ask questions that I'll later answer after the tour is done. So when you enter the exhibition, here to your left, you'll find a wall with the exhibition's description, which I have given a brief description about before entering the space, and an overview of Sudan Moves as a project, talking about the residency 2020 and the challenges that we had to overcome. To know more, you should definitely check out our website, artxdialogue.org, where you can also find 3 essays written by Stella Gaetano, Ahmed Asamuddin, and Musa Afwanga that furthermore detail the experience. So here's what the space looks like from the entrance. So talking about the pieces, this first piece, which is this veil on the ground created by Julia Benz, and it's titled Unseen, Unfelt. It reflects on what Julia has been feeling and how the pandemic influenced her everyday life. We also used to call this piece the veil of crisis. Coming to the choice of colors, she has chosen these colors because she felt it was the palette of that time in her life, the green and the turquoise, inspired by the colors of the masks worn during the pandemic. Also, this part right there, this wallpaper that extends and fuses with the paintings on the other wall, is part of their collaboration, part of Julia Benz's collaboration with Al-Muntasir Al-Hassan's, and that's their way of having their visual dialogue. Pressing on the info gives you a better look on the veil. Pressing on these circular buttons gives you a more in-depth description of the work and the concept behind it. Moving forward, navigating through these arrows, we have these paintings, which are part of the paintings on this wall right here. This painting series is titled Rearranging the Camouflage by Al-Muntasir Al-Hassan. Pressing on the paintbrush maximizes the paintings where you can check them separately in depth. So this series is called Rearranging the Camouflage. Through this series, Al-Hassan was Muntasir was tapping into the concept of order and chaos, choosing these earthy tones that represent nature and how, when they are organized in a different manner or a camouflage manner, they represent something completely different that might be intimidating to many people, which is the military. His work is an observation of the socio-political changes that attempt to document the hope and despair of December 2018 revolution. It reflects people's relationship to the military and how the people from once being seeking refuge under the military's power to pointing fingers at them. He also raises the question of how an entity that's so organized could be the most chaotic. Rearranging the Camouflage is a story of hope from the people to reforming the powerful institutions like the military and the police, and also to have them understand that there's a clear line between police work and the abuse of power. And he also toggles with the fact that the Camouflage has dug its way into the fashion world, where we can see so many people rocking the Camouflage prints, which is a phenomenon that is which is definitely a new trend in the streets of Khartoum that wasn't as that wasn't seen before. Yani. Moving forward to the navigation, also you can check on these circles. You can click them to know more about the work and the concept behind the work in depth and in detail. Moving forward, clicking on the navigation, we have this circular room right here, which is the archive room, and it's shared by the Urban Episode and KHHP, who are the researchers of the residency. So I'll start with the Urban Episode. Their video is on maps, as you can see right here. It says maps, contested objects. They speak on the importance of maps in shaping the city and how they help in shaping history and also the narrative. During their research for maps, they have found out that access to maps in Khartoum or Sudan is not as easy, and it was controlled or limited to certain people or entities, and that most, if not all, of these maps were made during colonial times with a colonial perspective. So it's like the story of you isn't even told by you, and in order for you to get a hold of these maps, you have to travel abroad to find copies of the maps elsewhere. So they see maps as a threat. I'm gonna play the video right now, just a snippet of the video, and you guys can hop onto the exhibition and check the whole video. Playing the video right now.
Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, is a city with a long history full of various influences and circumstances that have shaped it into the city we see today. To examine this history, there are many means of knowledge available to us that archive the memory of the city and aid us in understanding history from numerous aspects and scales. However, due to our interest in the formation of the urban fabric of Khartoum, maps became the focal point of our project, considering their essential role in the studies of the built environment, whether housing, planning and urban design, infrastructure and services. Maps therefore act as archives that document the different changes in the city through time and allow us to understand the impact of different urban planning policies on the formation of the city. So, to conduct our research, we needed to find historical maps of Khartoum. The search for maps was on two parallel tracks. We were researching online, but at the same time we tried to research different Sudanese entities and archives that might provide access to historical maps, such as the National Records Office, which is the National Archive for Sudan, that preserves all the historical documents from the Sennar Sultanate until today, to facilitate access to documents and allow them to be published according to the institution's law found at the website of the Ministry of Justice. So we appealed to several Sudanese governmental entities to grant us permission to access historical maps of Khartoum. But we were surprised to discover how difficult it is to access maps from Sudanese entities, and we could not understand the reasons why the requirements to access maps were impossible to meet, whether for individuals or even governmental and private entities, despite the fact that it is within our right to access these information. This is the current extent of our research within Sudanese archives, which is still ongoing, despite our failure to bypass the inaccessibility issue surrounding maps, and we are still unsure if indeed there is a Sudanese entity that grants access to maps or not. On the parallel track, we were able to retrieve a considerable amount of historical maps of Khartoum from the internet. These maps are a part of archives of Sudan within foreign institutions distributed around the world, but the open access to these maps allow us to obtain them even though we are in Sudan. Of course, the matter calls into question the foreign archives about Sudan, particularly those that exist as an extension of the British colonial history in Sudan. From our discussions with different Sudanese archive officials, it became evident that they are aware of the existence of open access maps of Sudan within foreign institutions. Yet, the facilitation of access to maps from entities outside of Sudan does not revoke the importance of accessing maps from Sudanese archives. The role of the archive extends beyond preserving historical documents, since archives have the power to shape our collective memory and national identity. However, the process of selecting the archived documents, their categorization, and the control over their access impacts our reading and understanding of history. Therefore, the search for maps revealed to us the different power dynamics within the archive that alienates the public from accessing and participating in the creation of the archive. These circumstances set the parameters for our project Maps in Context, which aims to exhibit historical maps of Khartoum within the public spaces of Khartoum itself.
So that was part of the Urban Episodes video on maps as a contested object. And also on these circular things, you can find more in-depth descriptions of the project in German, Arabic, and English. So going here, am I lost in the loop? Okay. So going here to this piece by KHHP, it's called Pool Untitled. And it speaks about the relation of the media and the new navigational systems, which are Google Maps, and how a tool that we use almost on a daily basis and is quite helpful and shows the democracy of space is also a tool that reinforces discrimination and criminalization. They've took on a story about a boy jumping over and over in a pool. After navigating a neighborhood through Google Maps, they were intrigued by finding a number of police cars outside a space. So they went on and searched the matter on Google. They found headlines and articles about immigrants and pool incidents, coming to the conclusion that these new age navigational systems somehow control the narrative of how certain spaces and communities are viewed. So I'm going to play part of the video now just so you can get a better look.
Here we are in front of Columbia Bad, which is a public swimming pool in Neukölln. And if we check the street view perspective of Columbia Bad, we find police cars in front of the entrance that are parked on the street. Why is there police in front of the swimming pool? Why is there police cars in front of the swimming pool? So let's check inside to see what happened. So here we are inside the swimming pool, and there's a picture of a person jumping in the pool. We can see a person jumping in the pool on the picture. How is that connected to the police? Or is there any connection between the police cars in front of the door and this picture of a person jumping inside a pool?
So this was a snippet from KHHP's When Archives Hate. You guys should definitely check the full video on the exhibition. Going out now from the archive room and into Mayman Al-Hassan, Daniel, and Martin's wall. Mayman is the photographer. Danny and Martin are the photography duo of the residency. So this is the wall right here. Their piece was a visual dialogue, and since them being photographers meant they needed to be in the same place to take pictures together, they went on and flipped the challenge and created their own space where space did not matter by taking pictures of strangers in a white background. I'll come to the pictures in a few. And by choosing the white background, they create the space where space does not matter, so partially eliminating the distance between them. Also, during the residency, there was a lot going on in Sudan. Martin and Danny have never been to Sudan, and Maimuna has never been to Germany. So there are these WhatsApp texts and images and voice notes that give you insight of both of their lives and the surrounding environments. And part of the challenges when it comes to the Sudan side is bad internet, as you can see right here, and electricity. Along with other things that we're going to know from these pictures, like the floods that were happening during the residency. So I'm going to click on a few of the WhatsApp screenshots. Also, you can press on these circular navigations to know more about the project and see the concept in depth and how things fell into place. So these are the portraits that I was talking about with the white background. So there are also pictures shared by Maimuna and Danny and Martin, just to give insight about the space and how things are going in Sudan and what Sudan looks like, and also what Germany looks like. And here's, why can't I press on this? There's a picture of Maimuna. So here's a video call of Maimuna, Danny and Martin. So as you can see, everything is pixelated that we can't even hear anything. But that's part of what they had to go through in order for them to create together and collaborate in the residency. These are images from Sudan. And these are images from Germany. And there are also these screenshots scattered throughout their walls. These voice notes, sorry. Here's a video of the protest that they were just. Pictures from Germany, pictures from Sudan. So this wall right here is Reem Adjali's and Veronica Neppel's wall on their non-verbal dialogue. So after discussing many ideas at the beginning of the residency and what techniques and methods are to be used, Reem and Veronica settled on the approach of a non-verbal dialogue. They have started discussing the past through paintings and creating collages about the present with photos taken in Sudan and in Switzerland, which photos that they have exchanged through WhatsApp and email, and then painting their visions about the future in a form of a collage. Since they both were familiar with painting and the exchange of images quickly developed, which made them get to know each other through this non-verbal dialogue. Their pieces represented in-depth discussions and spoke on freedom, relationships, justice, and everything in between. Through this journey, they have built trust in spite of the distance, since they have shared so much with each other in order to make pieces with such personal and fragile topics. So I'm gonna click through the images. Oops. So you guys should definitely hop on the space and check everything like every single picture and every single artwork and every single voice note and WhatsApp screenshot to get to know all the challenges and all the difficulties and all the things that we had to overcome for this exhibition to be what it is right now. So moving forward, we're back to the rest of Al-Muntasir Al-Hassan's Rearranging the Camouflage series, the one that we have already seen from the entrance, which are these two images. So as I was saying before, Rearranging the Camouflage um, is an observation of the social political changes that attempt to document the hope and despair of December 2018 revolution. And Al-Muntasir was tapping into the concept of order and chaos and how these colors that naturally occur in nature, uh, when they're and when they're put together in a different manner or like a camouflage manner, could be intimidating to some people, and how there's a fine line between the abuse of power and police work. You can also read all about the concept and the ideas of the Muntasir right here in three languages, in English, Arabic, and German. Now moving into Golo, Horst, and Rana's dome, which is this galaxy. So with all the depression and the fogginess and isolation going on through the pandemic, they have decided to make a song about gratitude, a song called I Have Everything I Need. And since music is a binary code that can easily be transferred back and forth between individuals through the internet, the making of this song was somewhat a breeze. They have went through songwriting sessions on Zoom using their laptops and cell phones. I Have Everything I Need is a song about gratitude. They have made this positively uplifting, housey record. With the help of visual effects, they have also produced a music video or a visual representation of the song with their faces floating in a galaxy. And the dome room was specially built for this song. In it, the song plays while you are standing in the middle of the universe, diving into the world. So I'm gonna play the song and I'm gonna have you hear it.
Die ganze Welt bleibt zu Hause. Gibt nicht viel, was ich brauche. Display mein Draht nach draußen. Keep in touch, nur mit Augen.
Füße auf der Couch, bin müde ausgelaugt vom rüden Dauerlauf. Doch plötzlich bleibt die Zeit stehen. Kann jetzt alles in Zeitlupe sehen. Gewinne klare Sicht auf die Realität. Jedes Problem aus dem Leben gefegt. Seebild von schönen Menschen umgeben. Zeit zieht vorbei wie in der Großstadt Sirenen. Man sagt, Zeit ist Geld, dann war ich kurz reich. Stopp des Karussells, Moment der Ewigkeit.
So that was the song. If you guys can hear it, and if you can't hear it, we're really sorry. We're gonna share it on Instagram, and you can also check it on the exhibition space, and you can also find it on YouTube. So that was it for the day. That was the virtual tour. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll gladly answer all your questions. So talking about the space and how the space was created, this wasn't how the space looked like at the first time, from the first draft, and it has went through so many changes, from the colors to the design, to the way the glass was made, and to the surroundings, to everything. And also we have added we've added this dome room, the one that we have heard the music in right now. So I'll try to get you some images, and I'll share that at a later time, where you guys can see how this space has developed into what it is now. Also, this veil on the ground was on a podium, and Reem and Veronica's work was hanging from the ceiling. So this space has went through so many developments to become what it is now, and that's with thanks to Dear Designs and Rift Digital Lab. Overall, Sudan Moves was a great experience. I have learned so much. It has been very educational, and it was all about communication, and And what I like the most about Sudan Moves, or the challenges that we have faced, is that we had to find brand new solutions to brand new problems. Problems that, if not for the pandemic, or if not for the border closures, or if not for the lack of electricity, or like the bad internet, problems that wouldn't have arisen, and that added to me, and I'm quite glad to being a part of this experience. But you guys should totally check out the space and listen to the song that I usually play in the car when I'm driving around. So I guess that's it for the day. Thank you guys for bearing with me. And as I have said, check out the website, artexdialogue.org, and read the essays. Check the podcast, which is produced by the Urban Episode. One episode is out, and 2 episodes will be following in the next couple of days. Thank you so much. Drisi, signing out.